Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Rare Americans Music Videos Part 4. And that brings us to, well, 4 videos. We're doing 4 Rare Americans Music Videos for this next part of these. And we are going to be doing Moving On, Run the World, Love Is All I Bring, and Baby Boy. So, per usual, I don't know anything about these music videos going in, but as we've seen with the past 3 parts of doing these music videos over the course of the time we have, this band tends to, kind of say something in their videos. They usually have a theme, a storyline, or some kind of message to them that makes them stand out. And I'm definitely interested to see what we get this time. The titles aren't too much to glean anything off of. Moving On can mean a number of things. Run the World, Love Is All I Bring, Baby Boy. It's like they're all vague enough to where it's like they could mean a number of things in a number of ways. It's unclear. Like, nothing gives me a real firm grasp as to what I'm going to witness, both visually or auditorily, in this set of videos. And that's honestly fine. Excuse me. That's honestly fine. I prefer it that way, in all clarity. So we're just going to get into this, and we're going to hope for the best. We're going to see what these 4 videos have in store for us, and hopefully they end up just being really good. So all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. And just as a reminder, by the way, for those who haven't been watching the previous ones, the Rare Americans music videos are donation rewards for Sweet Venom. So thank you as always for that. Let's get this started though and see what this set has in store for us. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the music videos. So, that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah, I mean, another really good set. 2 of these made me cry. Well, actually, the last one got me pretty close to. It made me tear up. Okay, so 3 of them made me at least tear up. But 2 of them very much so. The last one only really got to me because when at the end everyone started following his lead, basically. But I'll get into that. We're going to go in order. So, moving on. Chronicles these 2 ex-lovers. They broke up and went their separate ways. They had a great relationship and seemed to be really into each other, but things just happened and they moved on. And it talks about how they're still thinking about each other. They still have very fond memories of each other, but they found new loves, and they acknowledge that that's what they deserve. They deserve to have someone else who can love them as much as they deserve and need. And it's basically just a great breakup song that is actually fucking respectful. Because you see all these, you see and hear all these breakup songs in the world, and they're always bitter. All these fucking breakup songs that are bitter. I mean, you have the queen of breakup songs, Taylor Swift, who's always let's be honest, kind of a bitch towards her her exes with all of these breakup songs. It's like you're really not that good of a person when you're doing this kind of shit. I'm sorry, but unless your ex was actually like really terrible and you're not just being a petty bitch, which it always appears that Taylor is. I'm not going to get into that. I know I'm going to piss off some people by being anti Taylor Swift, but either way, let's focus. The point is, most of these breakup songs you hear in the world tend to be very negative, tend to be very bitter. It tends to be the person basically saying, like, you suck, I'm better off without you. And it's like, you never hear breakup songs that are just nice, that are amicable, that are just about, like, yeah, we broke up, but we're going to move on because it's what we deserve. Because we deserve happiness. We deserve someone who will give that to us. We didn't work out, but that's okay. And I love that. I think that's a fantastic lesson. It's, I would say, at least from what I've heard, this is probably the best breakup song. Um, because it's not mean-spirited like all the others I keep hearing are. It's just, I'm so sick of that, I guess you could say, subgenre or style of music, you know? And I'm not counting like something like Potential Breakup Song by Ali and AJ, because that's literally a riff of breakup songs. That's literally the point. So I'm not even counting that, but that is a really good song. But this is like just a very nice, very respectable breakup song. And that's just something you just don't get, I feel. And it's a shame because it's like this proves these can be really good. We don't need to sell bitterness and hate all the time. You can sell a song that is just happy and nice and kind. They just move on. They move on to different stages in their lives. They find new partners who they love and who love them. And they still have things from their past. They still have the shoes that they designed together. They still have their memories. They still have the same interests. They even see each other again. But they're happy with where they're at now. And that's all they need. They acknowledge each other. They're even very cordial with each other. They smile and they're like, yeah, it's nice to see you again. But they've moved on. They're not bitter. They're not hanging on to the past. They're happy. And that's something, again, I just feel like we need more of. So, the second of these videos, though, is Run the World. And this one was definitely more personal to me. And this one is definitely the one that got to me the most. So in Run the World, we follow this kid in high school. He's kind of like a loner, I guess would be the best word. He has, like, his hair is dyed, he wears, like, the gloves, he listens to music and draws and focuses on his interests all the time. Definitely sounds like me back when I was in high school. I didn't have dyed hair at that time or anything, but that I would do that a lot. Like, when we were working, if the teacher allowed it, I would listen to my music. A lot of times I would be drawing, even if I was terrible at it, and I was terrible at it. But I would be drawing. I would be just messing around, and just, I would be an outsider. But then you also follow this girl who is dating the popular boy who's also bullying the other boy we saw. The girl comes home to an extremely abusive and drunken father. She gets sick of it and decides to leave with her boyfriend, who she very much does not realize is very much like her father. And this was something I noticed when watching right away. It's like she's living with an abusive, presumably single father. It's probably the only family she lives with. And the boyfriend she has is also an abusive bully. And it's made very clear very quickly that he is also abusive towards her. And it's just this, at this moment, where it probably clicks. It's probably happened before this, where he's abused her and stuff. It just really clicks in this specific moment. But she and him are like driving throughout town, drinking and making out, while the other kid before, who had loser written on his arm by the bullies, is just walking down the street when he almost gets hit by them. He's saved by this lady who has tattoos that say the same kind of stuff. Reject and freak and all. She has piercings. It is very much like a punk rock kind of design, which is awesome, by the way. But she like just basically takes him in like a mama bear and brings him over to this like seemingly impromptu like alleyway concert. The girl, who realizes that her boyfriend is just like her father and that she probably got together with him in the first place because it's really all she knew from guys. And it gave her like this weird sense of comfort in a way, just because it's something that she knew. It was something that she was familiar with. But realizing how toxic and bad it is, she runs. She leaves him. She finds the concert and instead decides to hang out with this boy, the boy that her now very clearly ex bullied. She writes loser on her own arm. She accepts his music and accepts him. And while they go their separate ways at the end, she finds peace in a life that is better for her, in embracing something that is going to help her. And it's not an end-all be-all fix, because she still has to go home to an abusive father, but it's clearly something that's going to help her. While the boy has found friends. He's no longer a loner. He's found a posse he can fit in with. People that understand what he's going through. And yeah, as I said, this one hit personally. I grew up very much in his shoes. In both of their shoes, in a lot of ways. Like I said, I was a loner in high school, and I would draw, I would listen to music, I would tune out a lot of the world, and yes, I was bullied for it. I was bullied for a lot of the things I was into. And while I've never specifically experienced having like stuff written on me and whatnot, I've always felt like that mark was following me everywhere I went. Like no matter what, even if it wasn't physically on me, I always felt like that's what people saw. And again, the abusive father situation is also something I can connect to, even if it wasn't in terms of drinking. Though there were portions of time where it was, but my father actually like became mostly sober, or at least to a point where he could become better fairly quickly. And honestly, smoking was worse with him. Like, it actually made him a lot worse when he was smoking. He quit that too. But either way, the point is, um, I did grow up with him with an abusive father situation, and so dealing with that has left me very much in the same kind of situation as she was. I have like run from the house because of it multiple times. And just like them, I've had to find my clique in a way. I've had to find people who accept and understand me, who are into the same kind of things as I am, but also who just accept me as I am. And this has become also especially true since I came out as trans. Like, it gives a new layer with that as well. It's a great story within this video that shows you how people going through terrible things, especially at a young age, they just need people to be there for them and help them through. People who can just be friends with them and share interests with them and just care for them. It seems like such a small thing, but that's all that's needed. Like, one small thing can grow into something big and change the life. So don't discount something just because it seems like it's small, or just it seems like it's not as important or impactful, because it can be. But then we had Love Is All I Bring, and this one had a very different tone. In fact, I'd say this is the kind of the outlier of these 4 videos, because the 4th one, which we'll be getting into, is kind of more towards the same realm as the first 2 were. But let's talk about this real quick. Love Is All I Bring, it takes place during a massive natural disaster. This mega thrust earthquake happens, and it causes massive tsunamis and all these troubles and just horrific damage and death and destruction everywhere. We follow this specific guy as he goes along and tries to escape. We see people he's traveling with trying to, escape the flooding and everything. We see them die, or at least be lost to the waves, which is horrific. And it's like, this video really didn't hold back in making that be known as being fucking scary. And it's like, I give them kudos for not really hiding the terror of this situation. He comes across a dog during his attempts to get free, and instead of letting the dog just be and possibly die, he decides to save it and keep it safe and everything. He ends up getting together with another group of survivors, and they persist. They move. They continue on and survive, but they find that there's not much left around them. That everything's kind of gone to shit. And this one is like, yes, it's showing this natural disaster, but I also feel like there's symbolism here for just the state of the world around us. A lot of the times we feel like the waves of a lot of things within our world are ebbing and flowing and trying to pull us in. Whether those waves be hate, violence, fear, the pandemic as an example. all this stuff going on around us. We feel like we're alone on the last bit of land you can see, surrounded by a tsunami of all this negativity. And we're just a few outliers amongst all of that. And I don't know if that kind of message was intentional here, but knowing Rare Americans, it probably was. This was probably meant to be seen as a metaphor more than directly literally. That just seems more like Rare American style, because just having a song and a video like that's just entirely about just a natural disaster without any kind of symbolism in there, just it doesn't really seem like them, you know what I mean? Maybe that's just me. And maybe it is just about a natural disaster, and any kind of metaphors or whatnot I'm seeing in it are just pure coincidence, or just me seeing that. But that's, I kind of feel like it has to be, you know? I kind of feel like there has to be something more. So that brings us to our last one, Baby Boy. This one was not even slightly what I would have expected. Like, I didn't make any guesses as to what these were going to be about based on the title, but this is not what I would have guessed. So Baby Boy tells the story of a young man who is trying to better his life. He's been stuck with, as you could see in the background of an early shot, like 15 seconds in. He has all these beer bottles, all these pill bottles. He's been stuck in like this party lifestyle, drugs and alcohol, and just not the best life, let's be honest. And it's something I feel like there's a lot of people who can relate to. I never personally was into that party lifestyle. It was not really me. But yeah. We see that he's definitely done with all of that, so he's trying to better his life, trying to move on, but he doesn't really know what he can do. He cleans up his house or apartment or whatever. He tries to watch a movie, but it's not really working. So he starts thinking back to his childhood, the things that made him happy, the things that made him, you know, feel good, and something innocent. Because the innocence of youth is something that people tend to think of when they think of, like, okay, how can I better my life? What do I do to better my life? They think back to their childhood. It's like, where can I go that's innocent? What can I do that's innocent? That's good. Something that I don't have to, like, be bogged down with the heaviness of adulthood and everything. And it's not saying that you have to ignore adult responsibilities or anything. Just what kind of stuff can I just enjoy to get my life back on track, to get me back on track? Because a lot of times that is what you do. When you're trying to get your life back on track, you want to, you know, enjoy it. You want to do something that's going to make the journey, you know, easier. So he's thinking back to his childhood, and he thinks back to his childhood dog. And he remembers his dog and decides, you know, I'm gonna look at the animal shelter's website and see what I can find. So he starts looking through the dogs. Meanwhile, this dog that he saw at the bus stop, like the other day or maybe the same day or something, gets caught by animal control and brought to the shelter. This dog bears a striking resemblance to his childhood dog, with the big difference being the patch of white fur around the eye that his childhood dog had, and this one doesn't. he ends up finding the dog on the list on the website, and reminding him of his childhood, decides to go with it. He adopts the dog, and yeah, it helps him. It helps him, and then others start doing the same. Other people around the town start adopting from the shelter as well, and start helping themselves get out of ruts and issues that they're facing. And this one is very simple compared to some of the others that Rare Americans have done, especially the first two in this set. It's basically just, if you're having a hard time, if things are going wrong in your life, if you need to like come out of a rut or out of a bad portion of your life that just wasn't working for you for whatever reason, find something that can anchor you into a positive state. And a pet is a great way to do that. Like, pets bring joy. Absolutely they do. And especially pets that you can be active and play with. Like a snake or something, or an iguana, pets like that, even a bird to a degree, like, they don't run around and everything. Like, a bird can fly around and hang around you and stuff, but these kind of pets are more stationary. But when you have a pet like a cat or a dog or something, a lot of times you'll be playing with them. Whether with toys or just running around with them, stuff like that. And it's like, that can very easily bring up your mood. And that's what we're seeing here. All these people are adopting these pets, these dogs and everything, and it's helping to bring up their mood, to make them happier. And it doesn't have to be a pet. Just find something like that. It can be video games. It can be a friend. It can be comic books. It can be anything, really. Just something that brings you happiness. Something that just turns you around and helps you in times where your life has been going wrong, or you're depressed, or you're facing a lot of your own questionable past. It's like, you just got to find something. And I've talked about this before, but for me, it was MLP. It was My Little Pony. That was the thing that anchored me into a better place after my extreme depression and suicidal tendencies took hold of me. Discovering MLP, it gave me something. And discovering the community allowed me to hook myself into something that helped pull me out of the darkness I was in. It helped save me. And since then, it's helped me discover a lot more and discover a lot about myself. And through that, I've reached a better place. So it's like, this definitely is not just talking about like specifically a dog. A dog is like a great example, but there's definitely other things you can use to serve this purpose. And as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, as long as it's perfectly safe and healthy enough, there's nothing wrong with whatever it happens to be. If you're 30 plus years old and you're really into video games, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't hurt anyone. It's a video game. As long as you're just having fun with it and enjoying it and it's helping keep you happy, that's great. If you're watching children's cartoons, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just find something that makes you happy and latch onto it. Just latch onto it and let it make you happy. Let it bring you into the light. That's just all you got to do. So yeah, clearly I had quite a bit to say on these videos. If I were to name specifically my favorite, I did say that Run the World was the most personal and emotional for me. Um, and if I were to name one that would actually, like, be my favorite out of these based on the music and the song, it would still probably be Run the World, honestly. I just liked it the best, even outside of just the personal connection, though I will acknowledge the personal connection obviously helps. If I had to name a least favorite, it would probably be Love Is All I Bring, because even though I saw like a little symbolism in there, I don't entirely know if it was intentional. I want to believe it was, but I don't actually know if it was. And if it wasn't, then it was just honestly not what I'm looking for with Rare Americans videos. Like, if I'm being honest, if it was just about like a natural disaster and just that simple, then it's like, yeah, that's a big deal. And again, it's showing kind of like the human spirit persevering in the face of a disaster like that. But that's it's not quite what I'm looking for with a Rare Americans video. It doesn't. I'm looking for that symbolism. I'm looking for heavier, more personal topics, And I feel like the symbolism there just helps make the video feel that much more like powerful, honestly. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, I'm not even saying it's bad. It's just my least favorite of these four. Um, I don't know if I would say this is my favorite set of these either. Um, but it's also been a while since I've reacted to the other ones, so I would have to really think about it and probably watch the other videos again. Um, but maybe we'll have more of these in the future anyways, so might not even need to think about that right now. But yeah, so thank you once again to Venom for donating for these, and let me know in the comments below what was your favorite of this set. Which one spoke to you, whether personally or just in terms of its message. Let me know your thoughts on all of that, on everything here, and maybe even the other ones that we've already reacted to. Let me know your thoughts down below, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.